Good morning, everyone. Someone once pointed out that the word intimacy could also be read into me see. The real definition of intimacy is obviously not a physical experience, but an emotional and a spiritual experience where you can intimately see. You can see the other person. Often we see people, but we really don't see them. And this is true also in our relationship with God. We know that the Nisana Tokef prayer, the holiest prayer on Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, says that every person passes by God and God examines and scrutinizes that person as an individual. That God truly sees inside of us. He sees our inner workings and makeup and our actions and our character. And therefore it's like a spiritual x-ray machine. And this is what we want. We want God to see us because we want God to see and understand what it is we're asking for and what we need and what we lack and what we're yearning and striving for in life. There's a beautiful verse that everyone knows from King Solomon in the book of Proverbs. He says, Kamayim hapanim el panim, kain lev adam al lev adam. Which means, just like a man's face is reflected in the water, you could see a reflection in the water, so too one heart reflects another heart. In other words, King Solomon is saying is, you know the language of the heart? When you can see into someone else's heart, when two hearts could communicate with one another, that's the real language and communication between people. It's not just verbal, but it's emotional and spiritual. As a person sees his reflection in the water, so too one heart reflects another heart. So the question is, why does King Solomon say, like a person sees his reflection in the water, so too one person's heart sees the other heart? Why doesn't he say, like a person sees his reflection in a mirror? So too, just like you see your reflection in the mirror, one heart reflects another heart. You know, it's not what people say, it's what they feel towards you that really speaks louder than their words, and you can sense their feelings. But why not use the analogy of a mirror? Why use water? So Rav Nachman of Breslov, who, by the way, thousands of people go to his grave in Uman for Rosh Hashanah every year, he says something very beautiful. He says, in order to see your reflection in a mirror, you could stand tall, erect, proud, even arrogant. But to see your face in the water, you have to bend over a little bit. He says, if you want to see another person's heart, and you want another person to see your heart, you can't be haughty. You have to be a little bit humble. You have to bend over a little bit. You have to compromise. You have to see it from their perspective as well. And that's why there's a custom to use a curved shofar, and also there's a custom that although during the rest of the year we only bow at certain times, there's somewhat of the custom that throughout the high holiday prayers they bow and they bend their posture a little bit to show humility. Because this verse of King Solomon could also be read like Kamayim apanim al panam, kain lev adam el lev adam. We are in the image of God, Adam el Elyon, we're in the image of God above. How do we see God's reflection in ourselves, not just in one human being to another, by being a little humble and not arrogant? And that's why one of the key components of the high holidays is to approach God with humility. The prayer that the Chazan says before most of the Hineni, he says, who am I to come before you, God, especially on behalf of the community? But I ask for your mercy, I ask for your kindness, I ask for your compassion. There's a story told about the Baal Shem Tov. He had a chassid by the name of Reb Zev Kitzis. He was a great holy spiritual giant who knew great secrets of Kabbalah and Chassidut. And he would be the one honored to blow the shofar every year in the synagogue of the Baal Shem Tov. And he would study for weeks in advance to prepare himself spiritually for this great task. And he had a piece of paper with all his notes of his meditations and contemplations and spiritual reflections that he should have as he blows each blast of the 100 blasts of the shofar. And the day of Rosh Hashanah came, he went up to blow the shofar, and he took out his shofar and he reached into his pocket for the piece of paper with all of his notes that he prepared so carefully. Couldn't find it. He checked every pocket, that was gone. And so he had no choice. He just blew the shofar by memory without his meditations in front of him, and he was crying. He was so sad that he lost that paper. Afterwards, the Baal Shem Tov saw him and said, let me tell you something. He said, up in heaven there are many chambers. Each chamber is a chamber of another blessing. And each chamber has another key on its lock to enter in. Each spiritual meditation is the key to another chamber in the heavens. But he said there's always a master key that opens all the locks. And you know what that is? A humble heart. He says, you had the master key today. Sometimes our best prayers are not the ones that are well thought out and planned and articulated, but the ones that just pierce the heart and emanate from the heart. As Rav Nachman of Breslov once said as well, there's nothing straighter than a crooked ladder and nothing more whole than a broken heart.